The UAE has been one of the most challenging markets for Coca-Cola as Pepsi is leading the turf. We hold a humble 30% market share, but our vision is to take the #1 position by 2020. The UAE has a diverse mix of cultures and CSD tastes, with cola being the most preferred flavor, closely followed by citrus. Mountain Dew from PCI dominates the citrus segment and also the CSD category in the UAE, with no relevant competitor from KO's portfolio. Globally, the KO system has launched a series of challenger brands to bring down the domination of Mountain Dew, but none could really pack a punch into the citrus segment, not even the homegrown fighter Kuat Jabal that was launched in 2003 and was now dying a slow death. Kuat Jabal, which literally means the power of the mountain in Arabic, failed to connect with the consumers because we were offering a Me Too proposition without offering any reason to switch. On the other hand, PCI continued to leverage Dew's growth every year by reinvesting the profits generated from Dew onto their core brands. In order to gain leadership in the sparkling segment, we had to find a way to restrict Dew's growth. Since extreme situations demand unconventional solutions, we had to stop thinking like the Coca-Cola company and start thinking like a startup, with a mission to deprive PCI of the unchallenged cash flows from Dew. While we were looking for a weakness of our competitor that we could exploit, we witnessed the biggest change the sparkling industry had witnessed in 20 years, an industry price increase. Suddenly, the magical CSD price point of 1 dirham was gone, which heavily impacted the market dynamics of the sparkling segment, resulting in major decline in the consumption frequency. And the brand that was affected the most with this change was Mountain Dew. This was the first clue for our startup team, who got into action and went on to dig deeper. We found that the low SEC Asian blue-collar workers formed the largest consumer base for Dew. They were extremely price conscious and were affected the most with the price increase. Taste was the biggest driver of Dew consumption. With higher caffeine levels, Dew was simply the poor man's energy drink. Our startup team now had two biggest insights from the research. Consumers love the taste of Mountain Dew and they are extremely price sensitive. We started by reworking on Kuat Jabal formula, bringing the taste and flavor at par with the much adored Mountain Dew. We also reduced the carbonation levels, making it very chuggable like Dew. Our biggest dilemma was, can we reintroduce Kuat Jabal to take on Mountain Dew with the disruptive OBPPC strategy? Will Kuat Jabal, an Arabic brand name, connect with Asian consumers? Can we launch a pack at the magical price of 1 dirham without cannibalizing our core brands? Will the competition react to the pricing strategy? After evaluating our risks and opportunities, we arrived at a bold action plan to relaunch Kuat Jabal with a new value proposition. We renamed Kuat Jabal as QJ Storm, a brand name that is trendy and suggests uplifting, energizing refreshment. Before launching with this proposition, our startup team employed game theory and conducted simulations to check potential moves from Coca-Cola and expected counters from Pepsi. We concluded that Pepsi-Cola's move to match our pricing would reverse leverage Pepsi's scale, putting them in a catch-22 situation. To do nothing and let go of some Asian segment share to QJ Storm, assuming a 5% loss of share, or to introduce Dew 1 dirham pack to counter QJ Storm, which would lead to huge losses. This only meant Pepsi-Cola would be left with no option but not to react. We put our plan into action by launching the QJ Storm 300ml can at 1 dirham in the UAE market. In order to reach out to our Asian segment, we based all our communication in their language, highlighting the magical price point. To minimize cannibalization, we clearly distinguished QJ Storm from our portfolio by crafting a new route to market with segmented outlet execution in low SEC Asian areas and installing temporary dedicated Storm coolers. We limited our marketing spend to radio, the most effective medium for Asians, along with extensive trade and consumer sampling activations to drive trial and price awareness. Our bold and calculated risks paid off with results that were not only immediate but remarkable. We managed to create a historic change in the UAE market. Within the first year of launch, QJ Storm made its presence felt by acquiring a sizable share from Mountain Dew in the citrus segment. As expected, PCI was left with no choice except to not react and let QJ Storm take away a portion of their citrus pie. QJ Storm became the first brand to use the scale of our competitors as its biggest weakness to get back at them. This program demonstrated that sometimes we have to think and act like entrepreneurs and take bold risks to convert unique challenges into opportunities. We will continue our journey to disrupt competition on our way to sparkling leadership in the UAE.